The frozen rescue on. A bitterly cold winter evening, Jack trudged through the snow on his way home from work. The air was sharp, biting at his skin, and the snow crunched beneath his boots. As he turned the corner near his house, something caught his eye. A German shepherd lying in the snow near an abandoned shed. The dog looked weak, her body shivering uncontrollably. As Jack moved closer, he realized she wasn't alone. Two small pups huddled tightly against her side, their tiny bodies trembling in the freezing cold. Jack's heart sank. The mother dog had clearly done everything she could to keep her pups warm, but the frost was relentless. For a moment, he hesitated. Bringing stray animals into his home could be a risk, and he wasn't sure if they were sick or aggressive. But then the mother dog lifted her head, her dark eyes locking onto his. They weren't just pleading. They were filled with desperation and trust, as if she knew he was her only hope. Jack knelt in the snow, his mind racing. If I leave them here, they won't survive the night, he thought. Still, he hesitated, torn between caution and compassion. Finally, he made his decision. Without another thought, Jack removed his heavy coat and draped it over the mother and her pups. He carefully scooped up the pups, cradling them in his arms, and coaxed the mother to follow him to his house. Once inside, he laid the pups on a warm blanket near the fireplace and dried the mother with a towel. He fetched a bowl of water and some leftover chicken, which the German shepherd devoured hungrily. As the warmth of the fire spread through the room, Jack watched the pups snuggle against their mother, their tiny tails wagging faintly. The mother looked up at him again, her eyes now filled with gratitude. That night, Jack realized he hadn't just saved 3 lives, he'd also gained a loyal family. Over the weeks that followed, he took the dogs to the vet, nursed them back to health, and named them Bella, Max, and Luna. Jack's decision to open his door that night had changed everything, for the dogs and for him. In saving them, he found a new sense of purpose and joy, proving that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can warm even the coldest nights. The Frozen Rescue, a tale of compassion. The snowstorm was relentless that evening, blanketing the town in a thick layer of frost. Jack, a middle-aged man with a quiet life, pulled his scarf tighter around his neck as he made his way home. The biting wind seemed to pierce through his heavy coat, and every step felt heavier as the snow piled higher. His house wasn't far now, just around the corner, but something stopped him. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed a faint movement near an old abandoned shed at the edge of the street. At first, he thought it might be the wind shifting the snow, but then he saw it again. A weak, shivering figure lying in the icy whiteness. Curious and concerned, Jack turned toward the shed, his boots crunching loudly against the snow. As he drew closer, his breath caught. It was a German shepherd, her body curled tightly to shield 2 small pups nestled against her. The sight was heart-wrenching. The mother dog was clearly exhausted, her fur covered in frost and her breaths shallow. The pups, barely a few weeks old, huddled together for warmth, their tiny bodies trembling in the cold. Jack could see the mother's ribs through her thin coat. She had been starving herself to keep her pups alive. For a moment, Jack hesitated. Bringing stray dogs into his home was a big decision. What if they were sick? What if the mother was aggressive? He wasn't sure if he could handle the responsibility. But as he stood there, the mother dog slowly lifted her head, her dark, soulful eyes locked onto his, pleading silently. There was no aggression, only desperation and a flicker of trust. She seemed to know that he was her only chance. Jack knelt down in the snow, his heart heavy. "I can't leave you here," he muttered, his voice barely audible over the howling wind. "You'll never make it through the night." He glanced back toward his house, then at the dogs again. His mind raced with doubts, but the pups let out a soft whimper, snapping him out of his thoughts. Without another word, Jack took off his heavy coat and gently draped it over the mother and her pups. The mother flinched at first, but then relaxed, her body sinking into the warmth. Carefully, Jack scooped up the pups, cradling them in his arms, and whispered, "Come on, girl. Let's get you out of this cold." The mother dog struggled to her feet, her legs wobbling, but she followed Jack as he trudged back toward his home. Inside, the warmth of Jack's living room was a stark contrast to the icy outdoors. He quickly laid a thick blanket by the fireplace and set the pups down, watching as they curled into each other. The mother dog collapsed beside them, her body still trembling. Jack hurried to fetch water and the leftover roast chicken from his fridge. He placed the bowl of water in front of the mother, who drank greedily, her eyes darting between him and her pups as if to ensure their safety. "Easy, girl," Jack murmured. "You're safe now." After drying her fur with a towel and feeding her small pieces of chicken, Jack sat back and watched as the fire's warmth began to work its magic. The pups, once shivering, now stretched out on the blanket, their tiny tails wagging faintly. The mother dog looked up at Jack, her eyes no longer filled with desperation, but with gratitude. That night, Jack couldn't sleep. He kept checking on the dogs, ensuring they were comfortable and warm. The image of them freezing in the snow haunted him, but it also filled him with a strange sense of purpose. Over the next few days, Jack took the dogs to the vet, who confirmed that the mother, whom Jack named Bella, was malnourished but otherwise healthy. The pups, Max and Luna, were given a clean bill of health. Jack stocked up on dog food and toys, turning his once quiet home into a bustling haven for his new companions. Months passed, and the bond between Jack and his newfound family grew stronger. Bella, now healthy and energetic, never left Jack's side. Max and Luna filled the house with life, their playful antics bringing laughter to Jack's days. What began as a split-second decision on a freezing night became a life-changing experience. Jack often thought back to that moment by the shed and shuddered to think what might have happened had he chosen to walk away. In saving Bella and her pups, Jack found something he hadn't known he was missing: a sense of connection and joy that warmed his heart, even on the days